Good morning, HoneyStreams. It's our Thanksgiving service, and it's a great pleasure to bring you creativity. Today, we'll be talking about tips on how to facilitate successful meetings. Now, we're talking about this because at least everyone seated in this hall, once or twice, you have attended a meeting in your life. Family meeting, departmental meetings, school meetings. So it is important that we know how to conduct ourselves in these meetings and also how to, manage the meetings. But just before we begin, we're going to look at the Nigerian model, how to facilitate a typical Nigerian meeting. Mind you, this is a disclaimer. This is just for fun. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide. So I'll just go ahead. How to facilitate a Nigerian meeting. Number one, never arrive early. Now, if you arrive for a meeting early, people, they'll take you for granted. You look too eager and too serious. You have to leave your house by 10 o'clock for a meeting that is starting by 9:30. Then you try to catch up. Then maybe when you get there, you start saying, oh, traffic. You get some yes from some people. But it shows that you had to go through a lot of stress to get to the meeting. Number two, don't be ungrateful and observe all protocols before speaking. So when you have the opportunity to handle the mic, you should say something like, thank the organizers for the meeting, for God giving them the wisdom to organize the meeting, and ensure that, observe all protocols. You can stand on it or sit on all existing protocols. After that, show regard for the last speaker. Something like this, I want to thank the last speaker, or I concur with the last speaker. Then go ahead to say what that person has said already without adding one single new point to it. Then you have to be very considerate, Promise not to speak for long. Tell them, I won't take much of your time, but go ahead to talk for as long as you desire. Then, this one is very important, and it happens a lot. Always summarize your points. You can use something like, so what am I trying to say? After you've said it for 30 minutes, what I'm trying to say is, you now summarize. Then if the people are looking tired or bored, give them hope. Tell them, in conclusion, you still talk for 15 minutes, but you're just giving them hope that you soon round up the speech. Now, this is a terrible model. If we keep using this model for our meetings will not be productive. So let's go ahead and look at how to facilitate meetings with, just like the rest of the world, globally accepted principles. Let's begin. What is facilitation? Now, facilitation comes from a French word facile, which means to make easier. So you're deliberately making the conversation easier so that people can come together, deliberate, and find solutions or carry out simple tasks. A simple fact about facilitation, there are about 25 million meetings in the US alone, and it increased in the US alone yearly. 15% of an organization's collective time is spent in meetings, a percentage which keeps increasing every year since 2008 and would be so much bigger if we look at it globally. Now, the truth is, you always attend meetings, and the higher you go in your career, the number of meetings you get to attend increases from entry level, management level, and upper management level. So it is very important that if we set out an hour to hold a meeting, it has to be productive. If we're going to be sitting around once in a month or every Monday to hold a meeting, it has to be productive. Now, let's look at why meetings fail. Why do meetings fail? Number one, no agenda. This is the biggest red flag of all. If there's no agenda, you are in for an ineffective meeting. So you'll be going to the north, to the south, to the east, and west. It doesn't matter. You do not have to type it out. You can simply write it. And these days, if there's a group chat, you can send the agenda ahead of time. So people can prepare their minds. They know, okay, let's say, for instance, the agenda, it's a meeting for us to do a fundraiser or develop a work plan for the next 6 months for the organization. You shouldn't just drop the agenda on the day of the meeting, you start sharing it to people. People need to prepare. People need to come with their ideas. They do not need to leave their best ideas at home. So if it is possible, let people have the agenda before the meeting. Now, number 2, no clear meeting organizer. Have you ever received an SMS for a meeting? This happens a lot in offices, and people come downstairs, and they're like, I beg, now we'll call the meeting. No clear organizer. And if there's no clear organizer, some people love to be very mischievous. They'll be like, okay, now, when they're ready to talk, I did my office. So it is bad. Always indicate. So people know I am supposed to attend this meeting. Number 3, no minutes are taken at the meeting. Without minutes, details are lost, action items missed, and there are no clear takeaways from anyone. This results in gaps, lack of accountability, and frustration for all. So we had a meeting last week. Let's use fundraiser, for instance. We had a meeting last week that we want to raise funds to carry out some activities in rural communities. There was no minutes taken, and a lot of people poured out their ideas, input into it. And we come for the next meeting. We're supposed to start from where we stopped last week. So last week we identified we want to go to 4 communities. But if there's no minutes, how do we say we're going to 4 communities? This is what we're doing in this community or the other one. It means you have to start all over again, and you keep wasting your time. Number 4, meeting does not start or end on time. Now, okay, most times due to unforeseen contingencies, meetings start late and end late. But if it is a habit for a meeting, this particular meeting in this organization, to always start late, there are 2 things involved. It shows the organizers do not have regards for those attending the meeting, or those who are attending the meeting do not consider it important. There's no respect. Either ways. Then number 5, communication is one way. This happens when the convener or the facilitator of the meeting, or even people attending the meeting, is just the one person is just the one pushing out the information. One person is the encyclopedia. He knows everything. You keep rejecting people's ideas. Oh, God, you should have just sent people a text message. This is what we're doing. Thank you very much. God bless you. Instead of calling for a meeting and you're the one doing all the talking and not taking people into consideration. Another thing is no clear facts that comes from the meeting. You find people leaving a meeting and asking, what was the purpose of that meeting? What exactly am I supposed to do? Why didn't God just send a memo? So people have to take something from the meeting. It has to be clear. Antisocial behavior, like everyone is talking at the same time, side comments, and fighting, hijacking somebody's idea. There are some people, they never have their own ideas. They must hijack from somebody and expatiate. Please bring your ideas from the house. Then also, no snacks or drinks shared after a long meeting. Yes. Talking takes a lot of energy. If we're going to be deliberating, you need to at least offer water and make sure the environment is okay. There are a lot of reasons why meeting fails, but for the benefit of this presentation, we'll take that. Now, what are the core values of facilitation or the facilitator? Now, we're looking at it both ways. When you are facilitating a meeting, you're the facilitator. So that process is called facilitation. Now, respectful. You as a person, you have to be respectful. Now, you have to set the tone. If you are someone that, I don't know how to explain your behavior, it might affect the meeting process. Then simple language. You don't want to show off to people that you have the best vocabulary in the room. Now, keep the language simple so people can understand. Don't forget, it's all about listening and understanding. Also, trust and transparency. Do people trust you in the process? If the meeting is going to end in a vote, do people trust you that you're not going to take sides? You're not going to push your opinions on other people? Then also flexibility. Let's say, for instance, on the agenda you had 10 items. 2 persons were supposed to do a particular presentation on the item, and they are not around, and you're already discouraged. You're trying to tell everybody, oh, see, can you imagine? He hasn't come. After we said he's the one that is going, move on to the next. You should be flexible enough to move to the next item. Participation. You're facilitating does not mean you have to walk around, behind everybody as if you're the principal. Also, take active part in the meeting. And, of course, humor help. It helps to diffuse tension. Now, for certain persons, a meeting is all about the meeting. But a meeting can never be about just the meeting. There are 3 stages to a successful meeting. There is the pre-meeting, There is the during the meeting, and there's post-meeting. So let's look at the role of the facilitator pre-meeting. Number one, assess group needs and goals. What is the aim of the meeting? There is nothing more important than knowing the goals because you'll be driving the meeting process. What is the meeting all about? Why are we having this meeting? It will help you because if the meeting is about buying a car, and during the meeting, people are talking about playing football, you should be able to guide them back to the conversation that is very important, that will lead towards buying a car. Also, know the participants. Understand politics and power dynamics. Now, you need to know if there's an elephant in the room. Did that fine uncle from admin break that girl's heart in personnel or in any other department? If both of them come together in a meeting, we should be trying to throw subtle shades at him. You need to understand. So if something like that is happening, you can easily say, okay, just hold on. We'll get back to you. Let's move to this other thing. You need to know those that are shy, those that are dominant. And because this other person, there may even be factions. So this faction may be saying no to something, not because it is bad, but just because they want to say no to it. So you need to understand who is dominant, who is shy. The shy person may not want to talk, but have a lot of ideas to offer. So you have to draw that person out. Maybe even call the person, what do you think about this? Do you think we should do it this way? That will help the meeting process. And also, know who your helpers are. Assign someone to work with you during the meeting. The fact that you're facilitating doesn't mean you have to go there, arrange the chairs physically. You're the one running to bring the snacks, fix the microphone. And these days that we have virtual meetings, you need to have someone maybe that help you read the chats in the comments box, help you put people in breakout sessions and all of that. There's even a job, I think it's called Zoom MC or Visual MC. Their job is just to, facilitate visual meetings, and they are paid for that. So you need to know people that will help you out. And also participate in the designing of the agenda. If you're an outsider, you do not belong to the organization. Now, facilitation, let's note this. Being the facilitator does not necessarily mean you're the convener of the meeting. An organization may just want a neutral person to come in and facilitate for them. So you have to be a part of the agenda-making process. Role of the facilitator during the meeting: set the tone, show that you're excited to be in the meeting, model positivity, and the group will absorb it. There's a meeting I used to attend in one of my offices, and the person that is convening the meeting, not only will he come late, he will come late and be like, this meeting no go take past 5 minutes, like, mo do come out for here. You're already showing us that there's no need for us to be in this meeting. You're not excited, and every other person takes that model. Everybody keeps looking at their watch. They're like, let's go, because you've already said there is nothing to be done in the meeting. So you have to set the tone. Be happy, be positive, so people can participate. Also, establish ground rules. Invite participants to be part of making the rules. We see this a lot during seminars. So they just bring a flip chart. Okay, what ground rules? They say no noise making, no side comments, no phone ringings. It's exciting when they are the ones who are setting the rules, so it is easier for them to abide by them. Use introduction. If it's a meeting where people do not know people, let them introduce themselves. After all, it is said the most beautiful sound in the world is the sound of a person's name. Use storytelling to connect the whole event. And also, make use of the parking lot. This is where you put good ideas that are not related to the conversation you're having. Some people just have extra ideas. So the ideas that were supposed to drop in the other meeting has finished. Remember, it's a stage, and they come this time around and they're talking about it. In order not for you to, cause any disturbance, my friend will say, yes, no, they tear clothes. So just put it in the parking lot. We'll get back to it later. That way, the person does not feel as if, you shut the person down, you do not want to listen. Just leave it there. At the end of the day, when you are running out of time or when the meeting is coming to an end, they may not even remember that there's something in the parking lot, but you successfully diffuse the tension. And also keep the conversation going and listen carefully. You have to listen. Part of your job as a facilitator is to listen. Listen so you know when a decision has been made, when a group agreement has been reached, so you can write all of that out. And lastly, role of the facilitator during the meeting. After the meeting, that's a mistake. After the meeting, what do? Capture and disseminate agreement. We have agreed to do A, B, C, D. Actions and future steps. Determine a means of follow-through. What are we going to do? Who is going to do it, and when will it be done? Also, celebrate the process and how everyone inputs led to the success of the meeting. Let people see what they've been able to achieve as a group. It doesn't take anything to send an SMS. Great job, guys. Thank you so much. That was amazing. We're looking forward to implementing everything we have agreed on today. Now, a lot of useless meetings happens in this country. And we, at Creativity as a department, we are hoping that you will take one or two tips from here to ensure that you have a productive and effective meeting. That if you spend 1 hour in a meeting, it should be quality time. Because people do different things during meetings. People daydream, people multitask, people chat. And not just the facilitator now, this is a two-way street. If you're not facilitating, you are attending the meeting. If you go late, you are affecting the meeting. If you're doing side talking, you're the reason why the meeting is not effective. And thank you so much for listening. My name is Victoria FM.